One of the easiest ways to prevent camera shake is to develop a proper hand-holding technique. Now, a lot of people don't hold their cameras properly when they take a photo. So I'll show you what I mean. If you've used a point-and-shoot camera, or maybe you used a live view screen on the back of your DSLR, you might hold the camera out here and compose using the screen. Now, that's fine for composition purposes, but you're out here, you actually have a lot higher potential for camera shake because your arms just get tired and can't hold the camera nearly as steady. So, one thing you can do is use the viewfinder when you're composing your images or when you actually take the image. Another thing that people will do is they will stand parallel to their subject. So say, for example, I'm going to take a picture of this tree that's over here. I don't want to stay and stand like this. Right now, I'm actually set up to take a picture of this flower, and instead of being parallel to it, I'm not facing it, I'm perpendicular to it. So my body is pretty much at a right angle to this flower. So if I'm going to take a picture of this, I'm going to turn like this. What that does, it gives me a wider base compared to the flower, so my feet are actually really stable. Another thing that you'll want to do is not hold your elbows out here. So I'm not going to hold my elbows like this and take a picture. I'm going to push them into my body. So what that does, again, is it stabilizes your camera with your elbows and your body so that you have one solid base that's keeping your camera stable. So more like this, less like this. Where you put your hand is also really important. Some people hold their camera like this. Some people might hold their lens like way out here if it's a big telephoto. One of the best places you can put your camera is you'll feel a little bit of balance. So if I put my hand out here, it's not balanced. If I put my hand here, it's not balanced. Right under here, I can feel that the camera is really balanced. That's about the best place that you can hold your lens. So let's do a quick recap. I've got my feet perpendicular to my subject. I have my elbows pushed into my side. I have my hand under my camera and my lens where it's balanced. Have my camera up to my face. Now, the last thing, when you put your camera to your face, you can actually push it against your head a little bit or push your head against your camera. That gives you a little bit of resistance and pressure there, which adds just a little bit more stabilization. So when you combine all three, it's going to look something like this. I'm going to be able to take a really solid, steady photo and hopefully not have camera shake because of how I held my camera.
Another technique to reduce camera shake is called the Joe McNally grip. Well, simply because Joe McNally popularized it. The whole idea is to use a camera to rest on your shoulder simply because your shoulder is going to be typically more stable than your hands. So for this to work though, you need a higher profile camera. So if you have a camera like this, I've got the Fuji X-T1 or a regular DSLR camera, you would need the battery grip just because your shoulder is so much lower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply place the battery grip on the left shoulder like this, tuck my right hand in, and then use my left hand to support. So for this, I'm gonna have to now use my left eye to look through the viewfinder. It might feel awkward a little bit, but it really works, so try it out. So once again, just like this, we're facing front, and that's it. Now there's a separate technique for hand holding really long lenses. So in this case, I have a 7200. It's not a super long lens, but it's big and it's heavy, and it has a tripod foot. So I've seen photographers do this, try to photograph. Now you can see that it's really not stable when you go like this. So try, if you have a tripod leg on the lens, try not to hold the tripod leg. Simply move it to the top or just detach it. If you don't use it on a tripod, just detach it. And now you can actually hold the lens. Now this is the important part. You don't want to hold the body. I've seen a lot of photographers go like this. Now, the cameras are really good and the mount points are strong, but one thing you have to keep in mind, if you consistently use your camera with a big lens like this and you just let it go, then your mount is getting a lot of stress because the lens is so much heavier than the camera. So all that stress is on the mount. Eventually, you might either damage the mount or it's going to be tilted. If it tilts, then you're going to have a lot of blurry pictures. The worst I've seen is one picture looks sharp on the top and really blurry on the bottom. And that potentially can happen just because of the mount if it goes at a particular angle. So the best way to hand hold this is you want to hand hold by the lens. That's where all that weight falls. And if you put it on your hand like this, you can actually see where it balances the most. So you don't want to hold it here because it's too much back balance, or too much closer to the camera because it's now front balance. So find a point where it's a good point of balance, and then same technique, you want to be pushing the camera really close to your body with your hands tucked in, one of the feet on the front, and push this close, and you're ready to take a picture. Let's talk about one hand holding technique that might really actually help you with reducing camera shake when you're working in the field. Well, I have John here with me, and I'm photographing here in kind of a shaded area. What I'm going to do is I'm simply going to lean against a tree and take a shot. So I have my hands tucked in and leaning nicely here. All right, well, the image is looking nice and sharp. If you have a similar situation, you're especially shooting with a portrait lens and you don't want to be rocking back and forth or potentially introducing camera shake just because your shutter speeds are too low, just find something stable that you can lean against. It could be a tree, it could be a car that's parked, it could be really anything like a wall. Just keep that in mind.